All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Monday Hauls. Hey, it is exciting because this is episode number 100. That's right, it's number 100 for 100 episodes. This show's been going on almost 2 years, right at 2 years. And man, what an exciting time it's been. Looking forward to the future of this show. I'll share that at the very end, but very excited because tonight we're welcoming, in addition to Southern Comic Geek and JT Comic Books, I'm also excited to welcome Jake from Spec Tales, the Spec Tales Podcast. Make sure you're following them on your favorite podcast app, as well as on Instagram and other social medias. But we'll get a chance to hear from Jake in just a moment. So thanks so much for being here. Excited that you're here. Excited to share about some of our grails. And I can't wait for your eyes to pop out of your head when you see a couple of them that are waiting in the wings here. But all that after this intro. All right. Hey, we're glad that you're here hanging out with us tonight. Like I said, very special night because it's episode number 100, but also because we're welcoming our friends at Spec Tales Podcast to hang out with us and walk us through this all-important, awesome storytelling event of sharing our Grail tales. So, hey, before we get started, quick shout out to Jesus, the other half of the Spec Tales Podcast, who's battling his way through the personal illness. Jesus, man, praying for you, sending positive vibes your way. I hope you get to feeling better, buddy. But thanks so much for popping in and for checking us. But you make sure and go get some rest because the sickness is no joke. All right, but hey, let's go ahead and bring out a couple of our mainstays, guys who've become quick. Just additions to Monday night. Let me bring them out real quick just to say hello, and then we're going to welcome on Jake from Spec Tales Podcast. All right, first up, Southern Comic Geek. Why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hey, what's going on, folks? Thank you for joining us on this Monday night. If you're watching it live, and if you're watching on the rewind, we appreciate you too, as long as you smash that like button. Hopefully you come to have a few laughs, see some cool books, and as we talk about those funny pages or expensive pieces of paper, congratulations to Carlos for 100 episodes of anything. That's quite the commitment, and we want to thank you for making it possible, because if there was only one person watching this, he probably would keep doing it. So there's more of you that are watching, and we're appreciative of that. So thanks for having me again tonight.
Awesome. Good to have you back with us, Southern Comic Geek. Always fun to see what you've got, and I can't wait for the folks to see what you've got in store for us. But moving right on, next to JT Comic Books. JT, say hi to everybody. Oh, wait, JT, you're muted, buddy. You muted yourself.
You can't hear me? Can y'all hear me? What's going on, guys? Comic book fam, what's going on? JT Comic Books, man, happy to be here. Thank you for everybody that's here. Thank you, Carlos, for inviting me back for the 100th episode.
Awesome, man. Hey, give a quick shout out to the Comic Book Fiend Club.
Yeah, the club. Comic Book Fiend Club. Just some like-minded men who love collecting, man. Nothing is off the table with collecting. If you collect My Little Pony, that's fine. Transformers, that's fine. We're just a group of guys coming together, man, to show off our collection, having fun, talking about comics.
Awesome. Man, hey, thank you both for being here. Let me go ahead and bring him out now. So our special guest for tonight is Jake from Spec Tales Podcast. I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell us just a little bit about what is the Spec Tales Podcast. Jake, come on out.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you very much for having us on. I'm Jake. I am one half of the Beard and Glasses team that make up Spec Tales. I am Glasses, as it were. And Spec Tales is just a comic book podcast that likes to focus on grail tales. We like to focus on comic book grails. That one book, that one thing that you've got that story about traveling to a random barn in the middle of nowhere and you were afraid you were going to get murdered, but somehow you ended up with a comic book that you hold most dear in your life. All of those crazy stories, we're collecting them one at a time every single week on on Spec Tales. So that's kind of our shtick. That's our thing. And we are actually kicking off season 3. We've been going for 2 years now. We're going on our 3rd, kicking off season 3 next week. So, but that besides the point, I haven't even said congratulations to my very, very wonderful host yet. Carlos, thank you so much for having us on. I'm sorry Jesus couldn't be here. I know he's sorry about that too. He really is not feeling well. So thanks for having me on, and congratulations on 100 episodes. Extremely impressive.
Man, thank you so much. Hey, but it was a huge deal to me since I had a chance to meet Jesus at a local convention here, and then just hearing about the concept and hearing it, just kind of seeing what you guys are up to, listening to it, man, just such a cool thing. So it was a huge honor for me to have you guys on. That's why I said, 100th episode, we're talking about picks and hauls and books that we found that we were looking for. Just seemed like a perfect fit for episode number 100. But hey, you know what? It's cool that all of us are here, but the most important people that are here right now tonight, like Jason referenced earlier, is you, the chat. So I just wanted to give a couple quick shout outs to everybody hanging out with us tonight, and for those who are going to be catching this on the rewind tomorrow night. All right, Las Cruces 1971, our recent winner from the giveaway show, our Wednesday night live stream at 10 p.m. Central. Las Cruces just won a book this past Wednesday, and there he is popping in to the chat, hanging out. He says, hooray, woohoo, happy Monday, everyone. Good to see you, buddy. Glad that you're here with us. Jonathan Dotson, there he is. Hi, everyone. Hello from everyone. There's Las Cruces from New Mexico. Can't leave that out. Spec Tales, there he is popping up in the chat saying, let's do this thing. There's Jonathan again. Let's see. Southern Comic Geek is popping in to let everybody know, hey, we're on the way, almost there. Here's, hey, the clone of Jonathan Dotson, David Spider-Man Dotson. Good to have you with us as well. Southern Comic Geek reminds us, hey, hit that like button. Make sure and smash that like button. Let us know that you are here, because we're excited that you're here hanging out with us. Hey, there's another familiar face from the chat recently hanging out with us. Cliff on Comics, what's up? Good to see you. Glad that you're here with us. Let's see. And there is the aforementioned Jesus, who is popping. He's the other half of Spec Tales. And hey, really, seriously, y'all make sure and lift him up, because, he's not feeling well, getting over it, or getting into it, I think. So make sure and, just lift him up, send positive vibes and prayers his way. Man, El Green Machine, can you believe it? It's El Green Machine has been with us for the past year. I think he gets like the perfect attendance award. One of our regulars, just hanging out with us on Mondays and Wednesdays, and other times when he can pop in. But it's good to see you, Larry. And hey, also make sure positive vibes and prayers his way. There are lightning fires in his part of the country, and they are shutting down power grids to avoid more fires right now. So it's pretty hectic over there in his neck of the woods. So y'all make sure and check in on him, pop in on him. El Green, man, I'm excited that you were even able to check us out. But otherwise, make sure, drop me that DM, let me know how you're doing and that you're safe, buddy. So you take care. All right. Let's see. Wolverado is hanging out here. Good to see you. Evening C3 fam. Nerd Magazine. Hey, y'all make sure and hit his link as well. He's got a YouTube channel, some of the best product reviews for geek culture that you will ever come across. And he's hanging out with us also. Serge Henderson, good to see you. Jagular, glad that you're here. Amazing Spider Flint, what's up? He's popped in and stayed with us a couple of episodes here and there as he can. Serge Henderson popping in again. Thank you guys. Are these roses? What are you? Oh no, hundreds. Sorry, I didn't know what you're throwing up. Nice. Okay. Cliff on Comics, thank you. Yeah, excited about this. Hey, big shout out to my wife. She is watching this as she goes to sleep for the night. She got a very early day tomorrow, but without her, this absolutely wouldn't be possible because she helps keep me in line, make sure that the books that I have up here are not too risque. And she's just a huge supporter, and big thanks to her as well for us keeping this going. Let's see, Nerd Amazing. Southern Comic Geek. Paul's a member of the Theme Club with his love for GoBots. Liz Barnes, hashtag Team Paul. She's here to support Paul, and he's not even on the Monday show. Paul, he's not even here. JT is feeling it, feeling the sting of the Paul bite. Mr. Collector says, hello, everyone. Just wanted to stop by and say congratulations on the 100th episode. Everyone make sure to smash that like button. Thank you, Mr. Collector, for popping in and seeing us. Thiago, what's up? Good to see you. So annoying that even though I have the notification activated, YouTube still doesn't alert me. Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, speaking of notifications, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. And if you're not a subscriber yet, make sure and do so. Lots of cool stuff coming down the pipe, including the Big Slab giveaway, the 1250 milestone giveaway. You'll get to see the sticker submissions from last season. So lots of cool stuff coming up here. And including channel memberships. That's right, they're coming. They've been approved, and so I'm going to be launching those very, very shortly. So make sure you stay tuned for that. In addition, hey, if you want to drop a super chat, it is greatly appreciated because it goes to help support the channel and keep it running on a consistent basis. And so, hey, big thanks to everybody that's here and celebrating with us. This really does mean the world to hit 100 episodes. I look forward to many more episodes for a Monday live stream. And looking forward to it. Well, hey, we're here to talk about Grail Tales. So let me go and bring the rest of the panel out. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And Jake, I'm going to have you just tell us a little bit about what is just a fuller. He gave an explanation a little bit earlier of a Grail Tale. And maybe just why don't you share some of the guests you've had on, some of the grails that they've shared. Just give us a little preface for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that. So I don't know. You want me to dive right in? We effectively, we initially, when we came up with the concept a couple years back, it was probably about almost 2.5 years ago now, because Jesus and I talked about creating the show back and forth for a long time. A long time as far as months go, and we just decided that we kept talking about all these stories that we were hearing, and the idea of, man, everybody's got these kind of stories. Everybody's got that book that they hold above their other books in their collection. And not only that, not only does everybody have it, but the creators behind these books also have their own grails. So we actually did come up with a definition of a Grail Tale. We decided that we wanted to be official about it, and we're calling it an imaginatively recounted history of a priceless comic book collectible. So that's something, we say priceless because it's for everybody. It's priceless is different for everybody. Some of the guests that we've had on, over the last couple of years, the one that comes to mind the most always for me, which was a big one, was Mark Wade. I was so excited to get to talk to him. Yeah. Mark was so much fun, and he actually dropped some awesome news on the show because I'm a big fan of Irredeemable. It's one of my favorite reads of all time. And Mark came on the show, and before he had announced it had not gone public at all, he's told us that they were going to be turning Irredeemable into a show, or that the rights had gotten picked up by Netflix. So we were thrilled, and he dropped that news on our show. He did not need to do that, and he got us a lot of attention when he did it. And then, gosh, we've had W. Maxwell Prince, the writer and creator of the Ice Cream Man series, which is another favorite of mine. We've had, Eric Larson. I'm sorry. Now I'm over my head, but I'm talking about a lot of comic book creators in this instance, but we've had tons of people from YouTube, Comic Tropes, Chris from Comic Tropes, which is a popular YouTube channel. We've had just friends from Instagram, lots of people that we've met on Instagram here and there if they've got themselves a really great story. And the other thing that we do sometimes when Jesus and I are just talking ourselves, we actually get listeners to submit to us a listener submitted Grail Tale, where they just tell us about how they found X book. They were helping a little old lady clean out their house, and they found the book in the bottom of a drawer that the lady was going to get rid of. Like it was like a bureau that she was getting rid of, and it turned out to be what was it? Now it was the first Silver Age book. Why am I blanking on this?
Showcase.
Yes. Yeah. It was a showcase. And the lady was just like, you can have it for helping me get this stuff out of my house. And the guy was like, oh my God. Yeah, she had no idea. She didn't even know it was in the drawer. She was going to get rid of all of it. Incredible stories like that just happen to fall, into our laps. So those are Grail tales. So every week we do at least one Grail tale. We also go over our recent pickups, things that we've recently read or collectible that we recently got that, we really enjoy. And then we end every episode. Jesus and I are the type of individuals, we like to help the hobby pay for itself. So we do flip books on occasion. I would not say that we are mad speculators by any means, but we do end every episode with a little bit of a speculation, but it's sort of morphed into, we always end the show with something where it's like, hey, you may not be a person that flips, but this book is cheap right now and it won't be for that long as far as our opinion goes. So we always end every show in that capacity as well. And we get those 3 segments out and then we're done. It takes about an hour. We are located on everywhere you can hear a podcast, and with the new season, we are actually going to start uploading every new episode to our YouTube channel. It won't be video yet, but we are trying to get ourselves on YouTube because we've had a ton of people on YouTube saying, "Hey, I don't listen to podcasts elsewhere, but if you put it here, we'll listen."
Very cool, man. Well, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, you guys have experienced some crazy growth, right? I guess started by the Mark Wade news, or.
Mark Wade was probably, I think, our 30th episode, somewhere there. Okay. And I think we're now at around 82 ballpark.
Nice.
But we've made really great friends with some people that are, we've got into a groove of like, sometimes people were releasing a new book and they started reaching out to us to see if they could jump on. So, it's been kind of strange. The number of creators we've gotten to talk to, which have been really fun. Andre Lima Araujo, who did, if you watched if you read A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, which I loved that series. And now he's been on a couple of times now. He's a really good friend to the show. And again, it's just kind of freaked us out how you meet people in this capacity. And I'm from Nebraska, so there are not a lot of people locally for me to just go and hang out with. I mean, we have people, of course, but it's just not all within the same comic book collecting vein. And I think it's incredible. I've made so many friends literally around the world. One of my favorite magazines, one of me and Jesus's favorite magazines, is Creepy Magazine from the 60s by Warren Publishing. We got a random email, and I'll talk your guys' ear off, by the way. I apologize. Just tell me to shut up at some point. We got a random email at one point from somebody being like, hey, really like your show. I need your mailing addresses. I want to send you something. We were like, we're not giving mailing addresses to some rando who's emailing us. We were like, sorry, who are you? And he was like, oh, my name's Dan Braun. I actually own the publishing rights to Creepy and Eerie Magazine. And we really want to send you something. I was like, no, how did you get a hold of our show? We do talk about Creepy and Eerie Magazine often on the show, but it was just the most random thing. Dan has since become one of the biggest supporters of our show. He listens to every episode. We actually have had him on. He won an Eisner they brought him and his brother bought the publishing rights to Creepy Magazine. And they republished all of the original books in some kind of, not omnibuses, but kind of in collected volumes. And they won an Eisner for it. And so, like, you get Eisner winners on your show, and you're like, what are we doing here? Just weekly, just kind of making new friends, just like this, right? This is incredible to be a part of. And we can't really figure out how it happened. It just sort of snowballed. People really gravitated towards the Grail tales, people like talking comics, and that's kind of what we wanted to do. So we collect those every week.
Nice, man. That is awesome. And it's a really cool kind of take on it, because there's a lot of comic content, but hearing everybody talk about that particular book is a big deal. Like that book, that grail that they, either stumbled upon or maybe hiked over mountains or had to do some sort of stuff. But so bringing everybody back in, thanks for sharing about it a little bit more about the podcast, and it's been cool to become more familiar with y'all. I think March was when I got to talk to Jesus of this year, and like I'd seen it or heard about it, but it wasn't something that I had looked at. But just it was cool to get to know him and hear more about it. And so it's been awesome to watch you guys kind of start to, or just as y'all have continued to grow and hit some longevity milestones. And so really cool, man. Really good stuff.
Well, thank you.
Tell you what, why don't we talk about some grails?
Let's talk some grails.
Grail tales. So so I'm going to go ahead and so I'll start with mine, and I know Southern Comic Geek has one, or he has a couple that he can share, which are just wow. Like he started flashing those things like they were playing cards, and I was like, man, what is he got going on there? And then JT may have something to share as well, but we'll see kind of how the night goes. So Jake, I had shared a little bit. I've shared off and on the channel here about I'd share a little bit off and on the channel here about my love and affinity for Hispanic superheroes, and so and that really kicked off in 2018 when I watched the Black Panther film, and I remember walking out of the theater and thinking, wow, this became more than just a Hollywood blockbuster. It's kind of a cultural event, and I could see a lot of things happening with it, and it drove a lot of people towards comic books, looking for more information about Black Panther. And I remember at that point I was very excited for it. I loved the movie, but then I also started asking the question, what about Hispanic superheroes? Who's out there? What's out there? At the time I didn't know. This whole the White Tiger thing and some of that other stuff kind of spun out of that later. But it spun me off on this quest and shifted my entire collecting strategy over to adding this, I call it a wing to the collection, but the foundation, the cornerstone of that, is what I consider to be the granddaddy of Hispanic superheroes, Zorro. And now at the time when I started, I think it was about 2019 or so, I started looking around and trying to figure out where had, what was the first appearance of Zorro? Was it even something that was attainable for me? And the information was not easy to come by. It wasn't published anywhere. It wasn't on an app yet at that point. It was not something where you said, okay, it's Zorro #1 and everybody knew that was it. It was actually in contest because Zorro started life in pulp magazines in the 1930s. He was written by Johnston Macaulay, and it was his first story, The Curse of Capistrano, was spread across, I think, like 5 or 6 different pulp magazines that were published at that time. So it wasn't even collected until later on, after that initial run, into a novella called that would later come to be called The Mark of Zorro. And before that, it was just like a backup story, and he didn't even appear in comics. And so comics weren't immediately connected to Zorro in the way that we think of the first appearance of some of our favorite superheroes, because that wasn't his first appearance as a character. But I still, being a comic book fan, for me, the way I connected to that character and to the legacy of that character was I wanted the comic book that was his first appearance. And so I started digging, I started emailing different people within the field and trying to find out where was a starting point for this. Wikipedia, Googling different articles, just looking and seeing how... just trying to figure out where to even start with this. And it started to narrow down. And I remember I started emailing people like Jeffrey, who I think is Golden Age Guru on Instagram, and then Nick from Key Collector Comics, because I thought, well, surely Key Collector Comics would know like surely he would know which one it was. But I just kept kind of, as I was hearing back from different people, they were saying, we're not really sure, because it was in dispute. There was 3 different books that it could be. One of them maybe about a 2% chance because it was a Canadian comic book, and nobody really, so that one kind of fell by the wayside. But then there was an issue of a book called Hit Comics that was published in, I think it was 54. Yes. Yeah. And so that featured Zorro, but it wasn't like as Zorro. He was a physical man, like he was part of a Kid Eternity storyline. So then that was Hit Comics number 55. And you see Zorro, or a version of Zorro, there on the cover, but it wasn't a Zorro story. He was just simply a character from popular fiction that Kid Eternity manifested to help him fight this character, the Brute, that you see here. And so Zorro pops in for about a page to a page and a half and gets knocked out pretty quickly, and that was it. But the book that just continued to rise to the top, this was one of the two remaining books, was Hit Comics. I do keep 2 copies of it, and I'll explain why and how in a moment. But the book that just continued to rise to the top was the actual licensed adaptation of Johnston McCauley's original story, retitled as The Mark of Zorro, and that was Dell 4-Color Comics Limited, Series 2, number 228. And so I always introduce this book as the first authorized appearance of Zorro, and to me, the first true appearance, because this character here, I don't really look to it as as really like a true appearance of Zorro. It's just a similar character, not licensed, not approved, not agreed to by the estate of Johnston McCauley, but I look to this book instead. So upon arriving at that book and kind of feeling like there was a consensus with the different individuals that I'd reached out to, and it was shortly thereafter that Nick went ahead and uploaded that information to the Key Collector app, and it started to become common knowledge. Well, before as I had gotten closer and closer to it, I started to realize, okay, once this is widespread, these books are going to disappear off of eBay and other places to purchase. So I ended up buying 2 copies of this at an incredibly low price, much lower than it goes for now. Got all my books in place, and then it was put out there, and then I watched as literally within the space of about a week or 2, all the copies on eBay dried up, and it started to become, I think, more and more known that this was for anybody who was looking for a character like Zorro, whether they were Western fans or whoever, that this was the book to have when it comes to Zorro. And so I did sell off 1 copy of it to pay for the entire run, because I didn't stop with just the first appearance. I also got his second appearance, his third appearance, fourth. These are all Golden Age books. 5th, 6th, 7th. And then you know how you're getting into the more recent ones. These are the ones that people are more familiar with, are the photo covers. So, and then these are still late Golden Age. They're still 10 centers. But, I've just continued to pick these up as time has gone on. And I still pick them up, because they're not super expensive. And there are some doubles mixed in here as I'm showing them. So I do keep, and some of the photos are actually reused. And then this one, this is a gold key, Silver Age book right here. So, and I still buy Zorro books, because like I said, he is what I call a cornerstone to the collection. So I buy everything, including the most recent brand new stuff that just came out like a week ago. So that is, that is the Grail tale for me getting it. And here's the crazy thing is that this is only about a $500 book. And the highest known copy that I was actually chasing, well, kind of chasing, because to me this is a grail. I like raw books. I love raw books because I want to be able to flip through it, look at it, check it out, read it from time to time. But I was chasing a slabbed copy of it, not really thinking I'd get it, but the highest graded copy on the census that was even a pedigree only went for a little over $5,000. So it's not an expensive book at all. But like Jake alluded to, for me, this is a grail because of my love and affinity for Hispanic culture and Hispanic superheroes, which led me to the granddaddy of Hispanic superheroes, Zorro, which led to this being my grail. So I'm gonna bring you guys back on real quick here, and all right. So Jake, how's that for a grail tale?
That's a hell of a grail tale. The collection is quite impressive. You just flipping out like it's nothing. Just be like, I got 1, I got 2, I got 3, I got 4. Going through the list, I think it's just badass. And that number 1, correct me if I'm wrong, is that a wraparound cover on that?
It is. Yes.
And you don't have to take it out if you don't want to.
No. In a manner of speaking, well, it's not like a wraparound cover like we think of today, because it has like story element. Let me pull it out real quick and check.
Watch that tape.
Oh no, yeah, the tape was crumpled and off the bag. Because I needed to change it out anyway. So let's take a look. So no, it is a wrapper. Yep, you're right.
Because the wraparounds were pretty rare at that time. Again, not the same way that we think of wraparounds, but it is a full image that they just cut into, just did the wraparound with. So it's a great looking copy of the book, by the way. It looks pristine. The colors are fantastic.
Yeah, I put this book at about a 7.0, and it has never been cleaned and pressed. I don't know. I've considered grading it, especially when I had a reader. When I had the second copy, which was about a 3.0, I did consider getting it graded, for preservation largely. But I ended up opting not to. But yeah, you're right. It is a very, very solid copy. Like even when you gently show off the inside.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've got it. Yeah,
great coloring. I mean, the corners all look sharp. I mean, it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't see everything through the glass here, and it looks clean. And I'm not recommending you do grade it. If you love it as it is, no need. But it is one of those books that, shoot, man. I don't know how many of those there are in the world, but I gotta imagine it's a relatively rare book. Hold that one dear.
Yeah, they'll pop up every once in a while. I mean, since it being locked on and people finding out what it was and the significance of it, it has driven it up in price. There was a low grade copy from Canada that I was watching on eBay for a while. That was, I think they were asking like $250-ish or so, which the low grade copy I got, and again, this was before it was even known what it was. The low grade copy I got for $40. And this one here, which is like a 7.0 to 7.5, before clean and press, I want to think that I got this one for about 60, maybe 65, because nobody knew what it was at that point. Like at the time that I was, and that was the thing, was that I had seen, because like I do top 10 lists on this channel, and what I've noticed sometimes is like there will be like it, it's like when you put out like opinions and stuff and put it out there, you'll see fluctuations in the market. And I like from the moment, like, truth be told, like completely honestly, I had a pretty good idea before I even contacted any of these other guys, like Golden Age Guru or Nick from Key Collector. I had a pretty good idea that this was the book. So I had already picked up the low grade copy and was just kind of, it was kind of that thing, like I wanted to make sure that I had a good copy of his first appearance in a decent grade before, letting it out there. And then, yeah, so, but yeah, so once I kind of started feeling from those guys that everybody felt like they were going to go this direction, I bought the second copy. I bought the first copy of Hit Comics, and just made sure that I was ahead of the curve, because that's happened to me before, where I've talked about a book and then it spikes up before I've gotten a chance to get my own copy of it, and I'm like, because a little bit of that happened with that. Because, again, it's this crazy quest of mine with Hispanic superheroes. Nobody was really talking about White Tiger until we started talking about it on the channel, and nobody cared about Spectacular Spider-Man #9 until I started telling people, hey, that's the first true comic appearance of White Tiger. And it's such
your own worst enemy, dude.
And well, yeah, I mean, if I was like heavy speculation, yeah, I would absolutely not do it. But this channel tends to kind of find its audience in the kind of the intermediate to beginner collector range, and so those guys I like to share. Those guys and gals I like to share, about the books and stuff, and let it, just put it out there for people. But I mean, yeah, of course, as a collector, first and foremost, I want to make sure that I do have the book that I'm going to talk about, and also, if I'm going to tell people, hey, you should consider adding this to your collection. Like, yeah, if I collect that character, or if I'm, even have interest in that character, yeah, I'm going to pick those books up, after doing the research and reading up on them and stuff. So yeah, so this was a fun one, and yeah, it was about, I think in total it was about a year and a half. Because obviously you're not working on it like full time, so it was about.
It takes time to track that stuff down. I admire the research that went into it. One of the things Jesus told me before, he had met you at that con, and one of the things he had said was your knowledge, especially when it came to Hispanic history within comics, was just unprecedented. He said your brain was bigger than everybody else's. I gotta say, I think I'm agreeing with him here.
Oh my gosh!
On this one,
that it's very flattering, but I was absolutely not going for that. And you were making Paul's blood boil when you say that. So.
Oh, you were flexing the brain. Don't act like you weren't.
But no, it was just such an exciting thing to pick that up and to just to figure it out, because it was like a puzzle. It was like a 75-year-old puzzle. Like, where is this character that I've grown to love and appreciate? Where can I find his origin, his point of beginning? Where, when he first jumped into this. So here, yeah, of course, Paul's our very own troll here on the channel. He has always got something to say, and some of it coherent, some of it not. But all right, well, cool, man. Well, hey, I enjoyed getting to share that with you.
Thank you very much.
I've done a couple of videos just on Hispanic superheroes here on the channel. And I've not, I think, talked in depth about that process. And it's cool, even to go back and look at the emails and stuff, and because I didn't know, and I was like, I'm just some rando messaging some of these people that are like influencers and stuff like that, and I was like, they're, I didn't know where it was going to go, but it was kind of exciting because it was kind of like a detective thing to do that. So I enjoyed getting to share it here and talk about it, especially for this 100th episode. But I'm not the only one that has some grails or a grail to share. So I'm gonna turn it over. I know. I'm gonna turn it over to Southern Comic Geek, and Southern was, you talk about nonchalantly flashing books in the green room backstage. This guy was you're gonna have Paul climbing the walls with jealousy in the chat.
Well,
it's gonna be green with jealousy.
It doesn't take much to get Paul jealous and worked up. As y'all can see, the Mexican spam bot has spammed Carlos's chat tonight. But hey, look, Spec Tales, I just subbed you up over on the iTunes podcast.
Thank you.
And so a suggestion, maybe to get like to the theme of DuckTales. You know,
I swear to God, we thought about that. We really did consider it. We've got some good music drops going on in the show. We already do. Hope you enjoy them. I don't want to spoil them, but there's some good ones in there. And then the opening is something fun that we actually built together with a bunch of just random audio clips that we really liked. So,
gotta go listen to Spec Tales. Woo! Come on, yeah. I mean, it fits. It fits. But so I do have a couple. I will start with this one. This one is probably a familiar book to everybody. So if were a kid growing up in the 90s, you remember when this first came out. And of course, I was still naive enough that I believed that how in the world are all these people going to come back, right? And so my original copy of this, and this is what makes it a grail. So the original copy of this, I got a tape pull, which is why I kind of laughed when he was warning Carlos away from the tape pull, the dreaded tape pull. And because the original had a tape pull like down here. So when I got back into collecting comics, I picked up a copy of this and quickly picked up Starlin's and Rubenstein's signature on this and left it raw. And so, of course, this is a George Perez cover and art. And George Perez was doing what we would find out to be the last signing of his life through Clan McDonald and CBCS. He wouldn't live long enough to do the CGC one. So thankfully, I sent this book to there. And then for it to come back a 9.8 on top of that.
Wow.
It's just, obviously, from the ones that I'm going to show in just a second, not comparatively, a lot of money, but just with all those, interlocking pieces, makes
the signatures. Wow.
Favorite of the collection. So here's one right here, Batman number 8. So not a huge golden age collector. I do have a rather large Batman collection. I think it goes from sequentially from 160 to current. And of course I have, speckled ones in between there, obviously. But Batman 8. Now, I saw this go up on a YouTube auction raw. And so another guy outbid me. But then once I'd seen it, this is an infinity cover, so you can see it.
Yeah.
So it was raw. A copy of this was raw. And so I just thinking about it, man, I'd really like to get my hands on a copy like that. And so I'm going on my way to a con, and this book right here shows up on IG. Quickly negotiated a price for it. And so I knew the guy who has since left the community, who ripped some people off. Luckily, it wasn't me. But the original seller, who I sent him the picture of the book I just purchased, which was this one. And I said, hey, man, check it out. I've been wanting to get one after I missed out from you. He said, that's my book. So come to find out, because, sometimes people have different IG handles than YouTube handles. The guy who bought this book got it slabbed and then ended up needing to sell it to get something else. So I bought it slab cheaper than what he paid for it raw.
Wow.
So it worked out, and so that guy, he follows me on Instagram, and so he's since and he's got some killer books in his collection. He since said, "Man, this is the one book I regret selling." But yeah, so it made its way back around to me, the exact same book, So the guy who originally I was going to buy it from was from like Pennsylvania. He was in Alabama, which I'm from Mississippi. So he buys this book. It goes up to Pennsylvania, then goes over to California, I think is where the other guy's from, and then back over here to me in Mississippi. So yeah, it is kind of serendipity, Liz, that it ended up back in the old collection. So
Nice.
Yeah, the universe wanted you to have that book.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And and that's how like sometimes you miss out on books. You just have to kind of view it that way, right? Because otherwise you'll just drive yourself ragged, because it is the thrill of the hunt is half of this hobby.
Yeah.
Regardless of the value of the book or, whatever, it's the thrill of the hunt, doing all that research like Carlos talked about,
Yeah.
or setting up those keyword searches on mycomicshop.com or eBay or whatever else, putting the feelers out to the community. I've got books in my collection that I wouldn't have gotten if somebody else in the community hadn't reached out and said, hey, dude, I know you're looking for this book. Here it is.
Yeah.
So, pretty nice. So, now this one is an Incredible Hulk #1. So, this book, it is a 0.5. The reason it's a 0.5 is because it's coverless. This is a reproduction cover, what they call a reproduction cover.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So the book's original. So it went up for sale. I threw a lowball offer out there, and they ended up taking it. And
Wow.
so if you look up 0.5s, or even what CGC would refer to as no grade, because it doesn't have a original cover to it, they go for a lot more than what I paid for this one. So this is one. Anytime I get tempted to get rid of a book, I always say, well, can I get it back? And the answer to like this book is probably not, because at this point these books have gotten, Hulk is the strange one of like the first Marvels. Like X-Men has gone down, it's seen the dip. And some of these other ones have as well, but Hulk just continues to climb without movie news, without a whole bunch of spec and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a solid book. It's got really brittle pages, not this particular copy, but in general. And so it's another reason why it's kind of hard to get in a better grade. So when I collected my entire set of Uncanny X-Men, I started at the easy stuff, picking up the easy stuff. And I know Reggie Collects has done a deal on this where he talked about when he was doing his ASM run. And so the last two books I got to have that run was issue 1 and issue 4. But with this, I actually got one before I got most of my regular Incredible Hulk collection. And by doing one, I felt like, man, if I can get one, I can get them all.
Yeah.
You can kind of conquer the world at that point.
First 6 really being the most difficult, and after that, I mean, you got to get all the way up to like 181 before you get another real kind of high-priced book.
Well, yeah. So I have Incredible Hulk 1 to current, to include Tales to Astonish 59 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's where the Incredible Hulk went into the title.
Right.
Technically, officially it's 60, but he was in 59. And then, of course, it comes back to 101. And then it's renumbered itself over the years with Immortal Hulk and a couple of other iterations, but all the way through current. So I have the entire run.
Jeez, you must have like 10,000 square feet in your house to hold all these books.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of comics. And it's crazy how they've multiplied, really. They're like Catholic rabbits, they just don't stop. But,
very nice.
Nice. All right, man. That is awesome. That is awesome. So Southern. So that Incredible Hulk, that is like you consider that your grail above all else?
Yeah, because I have owned like my Brave and the Bold 28. I sold it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get another one. I sold my Uncanny X-Men #1. Kind of question whether I want to get another one of those. So I've sold bigger books in my collection, and I just every time I think about that one, I'm like, I just don't know if I'll ever get one back, because I feel like I would want another one to take its place, right?
Gotcha.
And so that's kind of my gauge, that okay, this is one that I for the record books, I don't need to let it go, because it's probably not going to get another one, because I have priced other ones, like if I wanted to upgrade even, which is not something I normally do. Generally, if I'm a low grade, better than no grade kind of a guy, I rarely upgrade a book. And so once I get one, I'm on to the next one, and whatever that one is. And that's one I've looked at, and I'm just like, I just can't see it. So this one's probably going to be with my wife after I die. So, or all the kids. So
awesome. All right, let's take it over to JT and see. JT, you got anything you wanna drop in?
Man,
he's got an impressive wall back there.
But I'm gonna do something different instead. Take a step back. I want to give a shout out to Jonathan Dotson, man. He sent me an ALK package, so I just want to show off some of the books that he sent me.
Nice.
So thank you, Jonathan. Kind of like Carlos, but instead of Hispanic characters, I collect black characters, right? So he did send me this Shadow Hawk 0, 15 copies.
Oh, nice.
So
Badass.
happy to get that. And then I thought this was kind of cool right here. This Arthur Ashe.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Very cool.
I don't have anything like this, so this is kind of cool.
That is pretty sweet.
And then a couple War Machine books. So this is issue 10.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jonathan. I did want to give you a shout out on the show. Let me pull out this spinner rack real quick. And these are basically new comics.
Oh, the spinner.
Yeah, so this
Love the spinner.
This is my grail right here, the spinner rack.
Yeah, everybody's got to have one somewhere.
Right. So these, I don't know if y'all remember back in the 90s, Jim Lee.
Yeah.
Connecting covers for X-Men.
Did you get all of them?
No, it's still one missing. Magneto comes out, I think, the next week or the week after.
Okay.
It's only 3 of them that's out right now. So it's like this was like the very first comics I ever seen that caught my eye. Like I never the comics, didn't like comics or anything like that. I think I was like in 6th grade maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
Went to a comic book shop and I saw these books and that is cool. So I collected for just a short while when I was a kid. My dad would give me $5, for doing all the yard work, chores, everything like that. Only $5. Back then comics was like $1.50, $1.99.
Oh yeah.
So I could only buy one comic at the candy, right? But that is what caught my eye in comics with Jim Lee's artwork. I just thought it was so amazing. And then top and quality. So I would get like one book a month, something like that. But then what happened was, I think I told you this story already, Carlos.
Yeah.
My daughter, she was like, "Man, didn't you say you used to collect comics?" And back then we lived in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yep.
Like, yeah, why? And she's like, "There's a comic book store over here." So one day we stopped. This is about 2019. I know it was like right before the pandemic happened.
Okay.
It's like the end of 2019 or December or something. We went into a comic shop. I asked the lady, I said, "Hey, do you have anything my daughter would like?" And what she did, she pointed us to Ironheart. So it was like the end of Ironheart. I think it was like the last 2 issues or something that was coming out back then. So we ended up getting one. She really liked it. So we ended up going back, trying to get back to issues. And then I ended up saying, "Hey, you got another black character." And she's pointing me out to mine. So that's where my love of Miles Morales came.
Nice.
I got back in the comics as well. I guess I could get up to show my
I see the back wall. The back wall.
So I ended up collecting Miles, and this was my very first comic right here. Well, not comic of Miles, but my very first Ultimate Fallout 4. And I was like, man, I would never pay $100 for a comic, right?
Yeah. You say that.
Right. I ended up paying $100 for this 9.0. And I was like, man, I got ripped off. Right. But I ended up being happy that I got it. Miles is, I don't know. I think that's like a $500 book right now for the 9.0. Ended up upgrading to a 9.6. And one day, hopefully, I'll sell those and get a 9.8 from Carlos Colette.
Right. I'm gonna say, I got your grail right here.
Right.
Just chilling out, waiting for you.
Yeah. Besides Miles, I collect.
Oh man,
these guys right here.
Wow.
Adam, Blue Marvel. It's one of my favorite characters. And Brother Voodoo. So I do have both of those first appearance.
Dang.
Yeah.
First Black Panther, first Brother Voodoo, Luke Cage. Damn.
Yeah.
Monica Rambeau, Black Lightning.
Black Lightning, a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
It's such a cool.
It's a hell of a wall.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Love that poster you got, by the way. The Muhammad Ali Superman poster.
Yes.
Love that. I actually, I had to pull. I got a copy of that book. You got one too? Hell yeah! I'm holding mine.
Yeah, I want a DC one. This is that what's it called?
Whitman.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it.
All right. I'm done, Carlos. That's all.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks so much to everybody hanging out in the chat here. Even you, Paul. Big shout out to Jonathan Dotson for that AOK. Send it JT's way. Liz Barnes, thanks for hanging out here as well, and just for just for popping in, and to everybody else that hung out tonight. Y'all make sure you check out the Spec Tales podcast on your favorite podcast app. I think now YouTube is even doing there's even a section for podcasts here on YouTube because they're even getting into it. Spotify.
Have to dive into it. Yeah, I know we're gonna start uploading. Regardless, we are gonna start putting our episodes on YouTube. Like I said, we just don't record the audio or the video portion of it. Just yet. We're trying to figure that out as well. But thank you very much for having us on. I know Jesus couldn't be here again. He is very sorry, but yeah, we just seriously, Jesus and I just love talking about comic books, and we collect a grail every single week. So sometimes they're massive, blockbuster, expensive books, and sometimes they're not even books. Sometimes somebody's grail is just an original piece of comic art, that they bought online, or they bought they got it from a con where they met the artist, right? It literally it spans the spectrum.
Right.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, man, yeah, true pleasure having you on. And hey, thanks to the chat for being here tonight and for hanging with us for this episode. It's a little bit different, but it was fun. I enjoyed getting to do this. You'll get to see more of this as we move forward with our Monday night live stream. I'm going to bring it back in just a moment to the panel to have each of them give their final thoughts and shout outs. But just wanted to let you know, moving forward, we are going to shift the focus for the Monday live stream. And it will be it'll be more about picks, and these will be past picks, future picks, and current picks. Books, not just books that we picked up in the past week to week and a half, but really cool books that we haven't ever shared before. So that's one of the cool things about this episode was these are books that we haven't shared a lot of here on the show. So make sure you stay tuned. It'll continue on Mondays at 10 p.m. Central. And also, if you don't watch us on Wednesday night for the giveaway show, make sure you tune in for that as well. That's right. It's just free comic books. We give away comic books every week just to promote generosity in the community. We're excited to welcome a channel sponsor to the table, and looking forward to sharing that with you, as well as channel membership. So make sure that you're staying tuned to here for that. We actually are going to go ahead and be launching with 3 tiers instead of just 2, because we came up with a delicious idea that had Weapon X and I just cracking up over DMs. So I can't wait to share that with you, because that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And but again, thanks for being here, for supporting, because we couldn't do this show without you, the chat. And for those who are watching on the rewind, thanks so much for taking the time out. I know it's a late night. Real quick shout out that I want to make to the rest of our Monday night lineup brethren. So every Monday night here on YouTube, we have there's a lineup of shows that go live one right after the other. Starts with Izzyverse NYC at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. S-Vaughn 82 follows that at 7:30 Eastern, followed by Geek Out with Roscoe and TM Nerdy. They alternate their channels. Make sure you sub up both of them. 22 Comics at 9 p.m. Eastern, Couple Comics at 10 p.m. Eastern, and then yours truly, Carl's Collects Comics, at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Pacific. So make sure you sub up these channels and watch it. It's a lot of great programming going on here on YouTube when it comes to comic books. But as always, it's been a pleasure to have you with us. I'm going to let each of the panel say final thoughts and shout outs real quick, starting with JT.
Thank y'all for coming out, Comic Book Fam. Hey, I wanted to give a big shout out to Comic Book Fiend Club. Anybody who is thinking about joining, wants to join, they can reach us at comicbookfiendclub.com. I'm also going to post on Instagram a little barcode that you can go to. It's going to say Comic Book Social Club, the name that brings true comic collectors together. So look out for that. I'll post that up tonight. It'll be up for tomorrow. Go ahead and hit the barcode. Check us out. See the things that we do. And thank you, Carlos, for having me for the 100th episode. It's cool. Thank you for all the panel members. And shout out to everybody that's out there. And thanks again. Shout out to you guys.
Awesome. All right, Southern Comic Geek.
Thank you again to the awesome panel members and the awesome chat, and also Paul. So we do appreciate the panel for putting up with Paul's spamming.
Yes.
You got to remember that he doesn't understand what this is. He's a GoBot fan. So do appreciate everybody for hanging out with us tonight. And if you haven't already done so, smash that like button and hit the subscribe button to all the applicable channels represented here tonight on the Monday Paul's Key, whatever he's going to call this, rebrand this show. And remember, collect what you like, and it doesn't matter whether it goes up or down. It's yours, and that's the fun part about it.
Awesome. All right, Jake, have you give us final thoughts and shout outs.
Love that final sentiment, by the way. Totally agree. Collect what you like. Thank you, everybody, for having me on. Carlos, congratulations on 100 episodes. Seriously, very, very excited to have been a part of it. We really appreciate you having us on and letting us just highlight what Spec Tales is. We are comic book collectors that just love talking about comic books. That's the whole point of literally that's what this show is. That's what our show is. That's what everybody loves doing. And we just like putting a small spin on it where we collect people's stories and then we share those with everybody. I think we'll finish off by just saying, please give us a subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, all of it. And if you're interested, anybody that comes over from this show and comes and just follows us on Instagram or anything like that, gives us a listen, just give us a try. We will send out some cool, we actually do have kind of a mascot, and we make these cool fun stickers so this is obviously Peacemaker and Batman. The character's name is JJ. He's on my shirt. we do stickers and stuff like this. Just honestly, we'll send you stickers for nothing. Literally, just come over and say, hey, I saw you. Would love to get one of those stickers. If you like, we've got them in different colors. We've got Black Panther. We've got, Namor. We've got regular JJ. We've got Peacemaker. We've got Batman. We've got tons of options. And if you give us a listen, we'll send you a free sticker in the mail for free. Like I said. Anyway, that's my shtick. All right, Carlos, thank you so much for having me on and giving us a chance to talk. Congratulations on 100 episodes.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for being here. And hey, thank y'all to everybody that celebrated along with us tonight. It has been fun to hang out with you. Like I've shared before, this is one of the highlights of my week. I just love getting to talk comics and hang out with our little section of the comic community. Like I said, make sure and check out Spec Tales Podcast. Make sure and check out all those on the Monday night lineup. Lots of cool comic book related content now and in the future. So thanks again for being here tonight, and we will see y'all on Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central. Can't wait to hang out with y'all then. Have a great night. Thanks again for being here, and we'll see you next time.